All right, old school Texas Tech. Hope everyone is doing well. We are going to make our Big 12 picks and also talk a little bit more in detail about the Texas Tech at Utah game in Salt Lake City fairly early tomorrow. How are you doing, Red?
Doing good, man. I just want to know where you can get a beer at 5 a.m. in Utah.
You get a beer at five. There's been some, everyone, when Utah came into the conference, I won't even repeat on YouTube the language I heard about, what their fans were going to be like. I haven't found them to be that obnoxious. I don't know if they see us tomorrow as like a real threat, so they kind of toned it down a little bit, or what the deal is. Maybe I've just not seen it on my algorithms, but I mean, I've had a couple back and forth with some of the Utah fans, but it's mostly been pretty good spirited, I would say.
Makes sense to me. I think you'd have to be there in the stadium to really get a feel for how they are, right?
Yeah. There's a one funny deal about the kid, the college kid was posting how they like to throw water at each other after the first touchdown, and that went kind of viral. That was pretty funny. I got kind of kick out of that one.
How are we doing on the predictions? I think we're pretty much even, aren't we? Or am I up again?
You're one ahead because last week I picked Colorado to beat you were already one ahead. I picked Colorado to beat Houston, which was wrong, and then you picked K-State to beat was it Arizona State, I believe?
It was Arizona. That's right.
Arizona. So you're still one ahead. The rest of our picks were the same. So I'll eventually I'll start calculating up as we get probably in next week I'll have like the exact number of what our record is. But at this point, you're one game ahead.
I should have known better than to pick K State when Matt Wells was calling the plays for their offense.
Yeah,
Never.
they're lucky. They have a bye week this week. They need to regroup for sure up there.
They got some problems, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
All
right.
right, so let's go ahead and start. I'm going to go have you, as tradition has it, I'm going to have you pick first. We're going to start with the game that's starting just here in about 30 minutes. Tulsa at another team that's having some problems. Tulsa at Oklahoma State. Who do you think is going to win that game?
I asked a buddy of mine. I know three or four guys that went to Oklahoma State. Good guys you'd have a beer with easily. And one of them told me that Tulsa hasn't won against them or won in Stillwater since 1996, I believe. So I'm taking Oklahoma State. I know they have problems, but they're not going to lose to Tulsa. And if they do, then Mike Gundy was good knowing you.
Yeah, I think
He's a goner.
he's barring something unforeseen, it seems to me like this is probably. I have a feeling that they're going to mutually part ways. I have
Yeah,
tremendous respect for him, but I kind of have a feeling that they're going to mutually part ways at the end of the year.
I think so too, for sure. And maybe like an analyst, he becomes an analyst on TV or something.
Yeah, he'd be good at that.
Yeah.
He's an interesting personality.
All
All
right.
right, so the second one is Texas Tech at Utah, the early game in Salt Lake City.
I struggled with this one, and I've flip flop like a politician does because everybody knows that all politicians do is flip flop on everything. And this is a straight homer pick for me only, but I'm my heart says Texas Tech, but my mind says Utah. Um, I know that our strengths are playing into their or our weaknesses play into their strengths and vice versa. They're very good against the pass, but I'm still going to go ahead. This is a strictly homer pick. So I'm going to say Texas Tech wins this game, even though I know our road woes are well documented as well.
Definitely. Joey McGuire has not won a way opener since he's been at Tech. I don't believe he lost to NC State the first year, and I'm pretty sure we lost the last couple of years. He lost to Wyoming on the road, and then we lost to last year. We lost to Washington State on the road. So we've lost all three away openers so far.
Well,
Our
you're more prepared than me on the statistical front, but yeah,
All right, SMU at TCU.
I'm going to take TCU in this one. I think TCU is one of the better teams in the conference right now. And it's at TCU, so I'm taking TCU. I think they win handily.
Okay. North Carolina at it's UCF at Central Florida.
Isn't it funny? The great Bill Belichick has a very average at best looking North Carolina team. So I'm going to go ahead and take UCF in that game.
Okay. This is an interesting game, in my opinion, considering that West Virginia pulled off a pretty big upset last week. But West Virginia,
What we got wrong, didn't we?
yeah, West Virginia at Kansas.
Ooh, that's okay. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I'm gonna still go. I think I'm gonna just go with Kansas only because they're up in a game like this. I'm gonna take the home team, and it's at Kansas. No clue what the spread is, but I think I'll take Kansas to win a close one.
All right. Arizona State at Baylor.
Oh, another interesting game. Arizona State kind of seems like a shell of themselves right now. Maybe they got some things to figure out. They missed that Cam Scatabo, boo, whatever
Yeah,
the
they
hell.
definitely miss Scattaboo.
Um, with it being a Baylor, Baylor looks like they're a pretty good team right now. I'm going to take Baylor to win that one, being at home as well.
All right, very good. BYU at East Carolina.
Oh, I mean, I'll take BYU all day. I think BYU is going to be at the end of the season one of the 4 or 5 best teams in the Big 12 too. East Carolina,
Okay.
anything on these guys?
It is on the road, but yeah. Okay. Wyoming at Colorado.
Oh God, watch out for Wyoming. I think Colorado wins that one. They're both used to altitude, though, not a big deal there. And then Colorado or Wyoming, I think, didn't that great coach that gave us Fitz? He retired, so this isn't
Yeah,
even
one of
the
his
same.
coordinators took over, I believe. He's been there for a couple of
I'll
years.
I'll take Colorado to win a close game, but I'm like, watch out for Wyoming, man. Colorado, they're going to give you all you can handle, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's I'm a fan of. I know I'm in the minority, but I'm a fan of Coach. I like Coach Deion Sanders, but it looks like they could just totally implode this year, from what I'm seeing. I've picked them a couple games, but they could just totally implode. All right. I actually have the exact same picks as you, but I'll still run through them and kind of explain my thinking. Tulsa at Oklahoma State. I just think the talent gap's going to be too much, but something's definitely wrong up there. Very similar to K State, in my opinion. There's definitely something wrong. I don't know if Gundy's just burned out or if there's something going on in the locker room. Not sure what's going on, but I do think Oklahoma State will pull it off. Just too much talent. Like you, I've gone back and forth. I think the main reason why I'm settling on there's two reasons why I'm settling on Texas Tech. I'll explain more in detail when we go into the score predictions, but I think Tech's defense has just been really impressive to me, and I think Joey McGuire's due for like his first away win, even though it is against a very good opponent. I like TCU to beat SMU. I just I'm not that blown away. I'm not that blown away by what SMU's done so far. I know they started off ranked and all that, but I'm not that blown away. North Carolina at UCF. North Carolina's actually bounced back and won a couple of games against lesser opponents. So I almost picked them here, but I actually am going to go with UCF also. I think Central Florida is going to win. West Virginia at Kansas. I got Kansas winning this game. They're actually almost 14-point favorites. I was a little
Really?
surprised. I was a little surprised by that. If I read that correctly, I think they're almost 14-point favorites. Don't quote me on it.
That's a big spread.
Um, yeah, Arizona State, Baylor. I was listening to Brando on being interviewed on another podcast, and he's still real high on Arizona State. He thinks that Mississippi State game was kind of an anomaly. I think there are some problems at Arizona State as well. So I'm going to take Baylor. I think Baylor is a good football team. I think Baylor lost to what's proven to be a good Auburn team. So I like Baylor winning that game. BYU, I have them easily taking care of East Carolina. And even though I think Wyoming's dangerous, but they're usually dangerous at home, not away. So I have Colorado winning that game. I'm not sure if they're going to win it easily, but I think Colorado will have too much talent for Wyoming. But that'll be an interesting game to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you think? Let's go a little bit more detailed into the Tech Utah game. What do you think on score? Kind of what do you think's in detail? What's going to happen? What you think's going to happen tomorrow? Basically tomorrow morning.
Yeah, it's a 9 a.m. kickoff in Utah. So what I I
It's
remember
10 o'clock in Utah, 11 o'clock Central.
is it 10 o'clock? Okay. I thought I
Yeah.
think 9
Yeah.
a.m. And I was thinking the same. I was like, wait, I thought Utah was on mountain time and not. Okay, so then I got
Yeah.
that up.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that it's gonna be a slugfest. I think we could start out where both teams punt a couple times. It wouldn't surprise me to see like a 0-0 score late in the first quarter. I do think we're gonna trade punches, and no team is gonna build any level of comfortable lead. They're well coached, man. That Kyle Whittingham has been there for years, and if you look at his schedule, his record, I think he wins 10 games every year without any real issue. And
Except for last year.
they're good. Okay, except for last year, they're very good defensively, and they're really good against the pass right now. That's what worries me. But we're not running it very well either, so I don't know. But I do think that this defense is light years ahead of where it was a year ago. The new coordinator, Sheil Wood, I think is his name. I always get it kind of mixed up, but the influx of talent. I mean, seeing us have a pass rush, I'm like, wow, there's a pass rush. What a novel concept. Um, I think we're going to win this game by a score of 26-24.
Wow, we're actually really close. Okay. So I have Tech winning 27-25. And I
We
went
didn't
back
talk
and
about
forth.
this at all. We did
I
not talk
know.
about
Yeah, I
this.
know.
We never do. We never do.
I was even trying to figure out how each team would get to, well, I can figure out how Tech could get to 27, but how Utah could get to 18 is a little more I mean get to 25 is a little more complicated. But anyway, I think Tech is defense. Their defense has just been extremely impressive. I know we haven't played anybody that good, but we're stopping the run really well. And I think Tech can hold them to 25 points or less. And I don't think Utah can hold us under 25 points. So but I think it's going to be like a really ugly kind of think it's going to be an ugly, uninspiring win. It's going to be like kind of like we leave the game like, yeah, we got the win, we're 4-0, but if we have to play these guys again, there could be problems, and I don't think it's going to be like anything like really decisive. I do think that if there is a blowout, I do think if there is a blowout, it will be. I think it's a small chance that could happen. If it is a blowout, I think it'll be on the Tech side because I do think our defense is still a little bit underrated. I just because of who we've played, I don't think people realize how good we are on defense, and because we've traditionally been so bad at defense for so many years.
There's never a time that I can think of where Tech has pitched a shutout the first 3 games for 3 straight quarters. To my knowledge, that's never happened. Even in the
Yeah,
years where our defense was average, I know lesser teams still scored points on us. So, uh,
yeah. The 2008 defense was kind of a bend don't break defense that complemented that great offense well. I started following Tech a lot in the late 80s, early 90s. I would say I didn't see anything in those years. I may be wrong because I was just a kid, but I didn't see anything in those years that rivaled this defense. I've heard some people talk about the '95 defense with Zach Thomas. That defense was probably pretty good, but I'm just not so sure that they were as good at every position. I mean, Tech really doesn't have a huge weakness on defense that I can see at all. So
out the God's ears, man. This could be. I think it's definitely our best defense in a number of years. And I started following Tech in kind of a little bit in the mid '90s, and then when I knew I was going to Tech, obviously I became an instant fan. But I started watching them a little bit in '95 on. So whatever's going on before that, I have no concept of it. And I didn't really watch football until 1995. So who knows? The 1988 team could have been amazing. Who knows?
I think you'd have to go back to the 70s to find a defense that was in the same like that the year they went like 11-1. I think you'd have to go back to like one of those teams
Yeah.
or before that. I don't think in our lifetimes there's been a Tech defense that's that good. And the thing is they're like too deep at every position. So if somebody gets hurt, so it's not like obviously it would hurt really bad if like one of our best defensive players got hurt, but we've got backups that are really good at every position. That's the other thing that gives me confidence. I mean, even if like God forbid, something happened to Baron Morton, I have a lot of confidence in Hammond. He's
Sure.
he's played really well. I mean, I wouldn't be like it wouldn't be like, oh, the game's over now. I remember when we played. I think it was a couple years ago when we played up at BYU and we had our third string quarterback playing, and you just kind of knew we weren't going to be able to get it done. I think, if you had an injury or two up there tomorrow, Tech would still have a pretty good chance to win the game.
Totally agree, dude. I remember that game too. Yeah. I
Yeah.
again I like our chances. In a rematch though in the Big 12 championship, I don't know. I feel like the winner tomorrow isn't gonna win the next time.
Well, we're a long way. We're a long way from that.
Very
So
true. Very
yeah.
true.
One game at a time.
Yeah.
Although it is tempting to start looking down the schedule, and they're saying like I've heard people say, well, nobody else on Tech schedule's ranked right now, which I think is fundamentally true, but that may not be the case. Next week or the week after
But see,
that.
that's all BS because it's well documented that I'm a Notre Dame fan. And they are 0-2 right now, but they're still in the top 25. So I mean, I don't.
Yeah,
So it's like the whole ranking system to me doesn't even really make a lot of sense. And don't look now, but University of Houston's 3-0 and they're playing well. TCU is 3-0, they're playing well. And I know TCU is not on our schedule. We could very easily bump into them in the Big 12 championship. Just
yeah, that would be. I would
BYU
love to
looks
play
good.
TCU in the Big 12 championship game.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. I'm like, just because they're not ranked now doesn't mean that there won't be several teams ranked on their week 5, 6, 7. I mean, so the
I
whole
agree with you, man.
thing is kind of a joke to me anyway. But people love to take pot shots at any team that's not in the Big Ten or the SEC, right?
Yeah, yeah. So that's another thing that's important about tomorrow because whoever wins tomorrow is going to kind of be, at least for a week or two, will kind of be the standard bearer of the Big 12 for a couple of weeks at least.
Yeah, and I think we have a bye week next week, don't we?
I'd have to look. I'm taking this game tomorrow is such a big one. I don't know that I've been as excited about a Tech game as this one in a long time. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Agreed. Agreed. It's going to be a good one.
All right, my friend. We'll have a good night, and we will talk again soon. And hopefully, Tech goes up there and takes care of business.
Looking forward to it, my man. Go Red
All
Raiders.
right.
I'll
Take
talk to you
care.
soon, bud.